Olderman Live. I am 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏, and I'm so glad you're joining me for our continual connection. Just you and me and all the other older men with busy, productive lives who want to get fit, going through this journey of life. Fitness first, right? Getting that structure, getting that discipline. This shell of our body that houses this soul inside, right? Our journey as older men, getting it in shape, right? Losing that body fat, building that muscle, that more confident presentation, whatever fitness means to you. Maybe you have health concerns. Maybe you're haunted by the ghost of Christmas future, so to speak. Maybe your parents are ailing, and maybe they didn't take care of themselves, and you're wondering, well, how does my genetics play in? All right, and you need to take action, preventative, preemptive action, so that when it gets closer to our time to go, you did whatever you could. You left it all on the floor to be in shape, to eat right, all right? Whatever it is for you. Maybe at this stage, I don't know about, me turning 60 years old here in a few months. Seems like I just value life so much more. And maybe it's because I talk to so many of you and we're talking about the same subject. Maybe people our age are dying, and it's starting to hit us, that our own mortality. Maybe it's the when we were children, right? The situation comedies that we used to watch, Friday night, remember September, going back to school, the new sitcoms that would come on Friday night, and all those older people, all those people who are a little bit older, they're now dying. What is it? It's just making us realize we got to dig in, right, with our fitness. I want to help you with the most effective and efficient strategies. You don't have to rearrange your life. You don't have to live in the gym. You don't have to, carry around containers of food and obsess about it. But what you need to do to be healthy and fit, not too much. Not that you're lazy. It's just that's not necessary. What do you need to do? And you got to lean in to what you do. Guy, hello. I'm so glad you are here, sir. Guy is on my Facebook page at 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏 page. Hey, tell me where you're watching me from. I do this live on Facebook at 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏, Facebook at Workouts for Older Men, and on my YouTube channel. And that's at 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏. Then I posted it on my LinkedIn, 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏, Twitter, 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏, some clips on TikTok, at 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏, on Instagram, 𝗕𝗂𝗄𝗏. Let me know. And it doesn't matter if you're watching the replay version. Say hello. I'll acknowledge you for being here. If you have a question, maybe your question, even in the replay version, can be the topic of the next Workouts for Older Men. I would love that. A lot of people love the show I did a couple days ago, and it was just that I had one client, and he had been training many years, and he just wanted those next level distinctions. And so sometimes it's tough for me, because I've been doing this for so long and talking about it. And if you've been doing it a long time, you have this sense of certainty, or long enough, whatever that is for you. And I'm finding out there's certain organizing principles that even men who look good, who've been training for 15 years, they missed along the way. If they didn't understand the concept in the first couple of years, I don't care if they have 13 more years of training, they don't understand the concept. And you don't have to. You could still look good, but you're not here just to look good. If you're going to do it, you want to do it right. You want to look great. You want to be in that top 5% among men our age. And so it takes a lot of, the one-on-one coaching. And by the way, in the description, you can see this one-on-one coaching. I'm sure I've got a package for you. We could talk about it. So reach out. But it takes that conversation really hours. And if you think about it, I do 12-week journeys, for example, and we meet on the phone every single week at your same day, at your same time. That works out with your schedule. I do this 7 days a week, from very early in the morning, with all the different time zones, so we could figure out what works well for you. And at least an hour we talk. The call is recorded. I have you prepare with a form to get you focused. There's a review form that you do the next day. Very structured. It's not just two guys talking. It's not just a question and answer. I really dig in to look for those things that you may be missing. So if you have that frustration, you think you're doing it right, you're taking all this information. I help you streamline it so you know right where to put the effort. No wasted effort. No putting effort in the wrong places, and making sure you put the effort where it really belongs. right? And 12 weeks goes by like this. And what I tell you is when you're done with me, you'll have all my 32 years of understanding what's important, what's not. Well, why is the information presented this way? You'll start seeing all the information as 95% directionally the same. And then instead of how a lot of men see it, and even how it's promoted by the fitness experts, where it's just 95% different. It's not, when you know what to look for. And what I tell you, when you're done with me, it won't be a matter of what to do and being certain about it. You will be certain about it. It'll just be a matter of how important is this to you, and if you're going to do it, and to what level, but not what to do anymore. And that's a great place to be. That's a great sense of control. You're controlling your destiny, right? Hello, 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 Rides. YouTube, enjoy your videos. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rides. I appreciate that from YouTube. And one thing, all the different formats, they have all these specific things to do. I study from the coaching that I get is, and all these different things. And, if I were to, sometimes you just need a good system, just come and deliver it. I mean, I could deliver this every single night this way, but it won't check off all the boxes how you're supposed to do YouTube videos and how to make them viral. I'm not sure if I care putting out so many videos that they're all watched by, 10,000, 20,000. I've got a video that's probably been watched 850,000 times, 100,000 times, 20,000 times. When I pump them out on a regular basis for this connection, I don't really care about that if you just learn one thing today. So I love it when you on YouTube, because that's not normally how the information is presented, lives, questions and answers, and things like that, that you're getting value. Hello, 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 Josh. Thank you so much for being here on YouTube. Let's see here. I want to make sure I acknowledge all of you. And again, if you have any questions now, I'd be more than happy to answer those for you. Jonathan, hello, hello, hello on Facebook. 𝗘𝗁𝗂𝗍, hello, coach, hello. Guy says, yeah, your priorities go from growing big muscles to maintaining your heart so it doesn't explode. Oh man, I can't tell you how true that is, right? It's all about health, and it's all about longevity, right? Hello, hello. Let's see here. Peter. Peter here from Perth, Western Australia. Just want to say hi. Well, I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you're here, Peter. You were looking so good, mate. How old are you, Skip? If it's okay to ask. Well, that's the power in all of it. Yeah, I'll be 60 years old, Peter, in about 3 or 4 months here. Looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to a journey. I got a lot of things going on, like with my business, my family, my kids. And, I want to just leave it all on the floor as I approach my 60th birthday and just go overboard, even put some of those things aside where I just go on a journey. I got all these things planned. I don't want to promise right now until I get scheduled, but I'm talking about, meetings with all of us, like Saturday mornings, right? Just stretching, before I got injured, and you may not know about this, Peter, but, I was showing my kid, my 7-year-old son, how to do things right with the baseball. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I thank God, it's been about 3.5 weeks now, closer to 4 weeks. And I'm glad I didn't tear my hamstring. It's completely recovered. And even my shoulder. I mean, I'm back. And I want to take you through even that recovery process. I'm going to commit to this right now. I'm going to take the camera to the gym. And we'll go over it, because it's going to be my first day back of, second or third day back of testing out. You go on that journey. Hello, 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 Pete. Great to have you here, sir. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about a lot of things. Got a lot of work in front of me. I'm going to really challenge myself, and I want you to be a part of it. I am inspired by a lot of the fitness influencers. It's not so much the information and the way their bodies look. I'm inspired by how much energy and effort they put into the details of their video and their presentation. I know that takes a lot of time. You got to respect an influencer who does that, or I don't know if they hire a crew or they're sitting around, but from this angle, I appreciate all that effort. So good. Me, 64. Awesome. People think I'm in my 50s. I tell them it's a lifestyle of training. Yes, that definitely is. Peter, you know, uh, you know, what what I just how I frame things in my mind, you know, I don't care to look 50. I mean, that's a compliment. I guess I shouldn't, but I want to be my age. And I wouldn't just, I want to look good, but I want to be massively productive for my age. And the reason why is again, it's what I talk about. It's living with that sense of urgency. I want to make the most of every single day. I don't want to just assume that, oh, another decade's going to come along and I'm going to have my health and mobility. I want to earn it every single day, and don't want to take it for granted. Life has gone by too quickly, and it's going to be going by quickly, uh, even more quickly as we go. And so I want to be my age. I want to be massively productive at my age. Yeah, right. I think I posted this, but I saw a 71-year-old, and he was a former athlete, but just not that his body was so awesome, because he was fine, but just his energy. You know, just I don't know what to say. His energy, his confidence. I mean, he looks his age. He wasn't trying to be young. He didn't try to dye his hair, or not that there's anything wrong with that, but he was just comfortable in his own shoes, and a life well lived, it seems like, and that energy, that confidence. I mean, I just said, man, that's 11 years or so from now. I want to be like that or better. It gave me something to aspire to instead of fearing what it might be like at 71. Hi, Skip. Is it true to use machines more as you get older because free weights can put stress on your joints? Well, any type of weight training could put stress on your joints, especially if you don't do it correctly. Uh, I think what they say, gladiator, for older, younger, it's really about your skill level, right? It's easier and probably safer to overload the muscle with machines. And some of these machines are so amazing now. It isn't like the old days, right, where they really restrict your range of motion. A lot of guys are old school when they were younger, dumbbells, the free weights and those movements. Those definitely work, but they take a little bit more skill, and you got to be careful. All right. Like squatting, if you really want to overload the muscle, I mean, guess you could be old school hardcore and just load up, that bar and squat and make sure you're doing everything right. There's some guys never did it right or safely when they were 25, let alone if they're 55 or whatever, right? Where I see, I don't have access to these machines, but man, you can just sit down there nice, safely, and just push and overload legs. I mean, seems like a lot smarter choice when we're not, well, I mean, everybody has the reasons to work out. And, if you're just trying to overload that muscle, stimulate it, overload, progressive overload, demand it for more, build muscle. I certainly hang on to this muscle as we're older. You can do it safely with machines. And so, but it's more about a skill level. Right? Hi, Rita. I am good. I'm awesome. Thank you for asking. I hope you are too. Peter, uh, time. Yep. Too quickly. People like yourself are inspirational, man. Another thing we have in common is a bald head. Sexy, hey? I always tell that my bald head story, and I won't give you the long version of it, but it's on YouTube somewhere. And actually, in a non-fitness world, it was kind of went viral amongst bald people. And I told them that my hair started falling out when I was like 19 years old. That long hair at the time. And I remember on my first apartment and on this hard bed that I had, I wake up every single morning, see all these long hairs, and it would just freak me out. And I would go, see, the thing is the unknown. Like, is my hair going to fall out? Well, will it fall out in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades? Will it fall out at all? It was that uncertainty. And then I was a guy who went bald, like, it didn't like go up or in spots. It just got thin. So, the thing about it is I could comb it, especially when in my 20s, and, and with you put your head up and under the right lighting, I mean, look normal, right? And but it was the wrong lighting. I mean, it's like a sock in the gut, like, you're feeling confident, huh? Boom. Just under, in the mall under the wrong lighting. And I mean, I died 1,000 deaths thinking, oh my God, will anybody love me? Well, what's it like to be a bald guy in my 20s? I mean, but here's the story. So so bodybuilding, and I just loved it. I was genetically gifted for it. And I just found my thing when I was like 27 years old. And, just, connections in the San Francisco Bay Area. There was a woman and her brother, Laura Dayton, Mike Dayton, if you know them from the AA days. So they had connections to the magazines, like the Old Muscular Development that was off in New York. And they ran AAU, lower level amateur shows and natural shows at that time. And so like I was a rising star. And so they said, hey, why don't you, so very early on, I got a little teeny picture in muscular development of the gossip section, whatever. She just made a reason because she liked me, and they needed to fill up the magazine. So, so I was in a national magazine very early on. Look, all greasy, but even back then. But I was ambitious. I was writing for the magazines. I wanted to provide value as much as I could. And so there was a writer, Rosemary Holland, if that name sounds familiar, and she lived in the Bay Area too. And she came to me and she said, if you want to make it in the sport, you have potential, but you got to get a toupee. I went, what? I'm not going to get a toupee, right? That to me, that was like the most ridiculous thing in the world. And again, I was under this illusion because I would look at my head straight up with best lighting, and to me, it looked like that hairline was all intact. The very first Muscle Mania was in 1993, and I mean, I came in second place in the heavyweight class, and it was on ESPN. If you guys didn't know bodybuilding got promoted a lot, especially drug-free bodybuilding back then. I mean, I was all over the world on ESPN, had bodybuilding at that time. Anyway, it was in the pre-judging, and then, I knew I did well. And when I was walking, from pre-judging, whatever, back to the hotel, one of the judges said, oh, wow, you're a lot younger, man. And at that time, I think I was like 32. He said, you're a lot younger, man, than you looked on stage. You look great, right? And he said, your chrome dome or crown dome or something like that. And I'm going, what are you talking about? Because, what highlights your muscle is the lighting up in front, which is the worst lighting for my head. It made me look bald, right? Anyway, so, but she said, if you're going to make it in sport, and I really want to make that sport, I was going to, do I have that magazine picture? I got this whole box of magazines, and, I know my kids are going to see this someday, but they're boxed up. They're somewhere and they're not organized, and, but I gotta, maybe I'll try to find that. Right. But the thing about it, see, back in those days, now you shave your head, everybody shaves their head, but nobody shaved their head back then. All right. So I wasn't going to get a toupee, but the thing is that, even like dating, it's funny, is like, I look good in a baseball hat, right? I remember like I was with my buddy, it was his softball or whatever. And I remember the waitress or whatever. And so in front of friends, she liked me, look at me, I'm a stud or whatever. Right. But the thing is, I remember when I went to pick her up and date or whatever. Right. I just remember her face going, because I didn't have my baseball hat on. I remember never wear my baseball hat. I can't do that anymore, right? But so I died of a million deaths as my hair was falling out. But, one day I just said, screw it. And I just shaved it. Now that was a big move because nobody was, of course, nobody was bald. Nobody shaved their head. It wasn't common. Older men were getting old, and I wasn't older at that time, but, they would just keep the chrome dome or comb over, ridiculous stuff that, men just shave their heads now. Right. But I mean, the only, of course, 𝗘𝗢𝗁𝗁, 𝗔𝗯liche, if you even know who those guys from Kojak and what the King and I or whatever, you know, those were guys who shaved their heads. I don't think anybody really shaved their head. And at that time, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, but nobody else had shaved heads, right? So I just made that move. It would have been easy now because everybody. And I tell you, it was like 1,000,000 pounds of relief over my head because my head was shaved right, and it was the perfect look that enhanced, my bodybuilding. Again, all the bodybuilders seem like they have a lot of shaved head, but at that time, it's different. Made me stick out. It added to my, my branding and my image. And so I just remember, it's like I never looked back. Once I shaved my head, it just smooth sailing. But here's the funny thing, and this is the funny thing about life. I kind of told you how balding and how that taxed my confidence and in so many different ways, from my career to if I could attract a woman to, the guys or whatever. So something that just actually haunted me, 1,000,000 deaths, right? Just when you think you're confident, you get humbled by looking in the mirror under the wrong lighting. But the funny thing about it, for something that's your biggest problem or you perceive as your biggest problem, you think, well, life must have been great after that. But the funny thing about life is once you solve problem number one, problem two just replaces it with the same amount of intensity. Isn't that true? So anyway, that's my hair loss story. That was many years ago. Let's see here. Right. I don't eat fish or vegetables, so I struggle with my nutrition. I've lost 30 pounds in the last 4 months with the anabolic diet. But I fear that I won't be able to continue it 4 years for eating. Why can't you continue it? And let me ask you something. Food is energy. I mean, protein, carbs, and fat. I mean, a lot of times in the bodybuilding world, we really think it's got to be really specific. But if you think about it, there's a lot of diets with higher protein, moderate protein, lower protein. 0 carbs, moderate carbs, a lot of fat, moderate fat. So, thinking that the secret is the macronutrient protein, carbs, and fat ratio. I know you hear all about that, but how many calories, how much energy, food is energy, right? How much energy are you feeding your body to keep your metabolism, your health, your energy, your sense of well-being? So when someone tells me they're on the anabolic diet, for example, the magic isn't the diet. They will all work. The first thing you should focus on, how many calories you're eating. And people don't want to hear that. I don't count my calories. You got to know how many calories. Now, is that the end all be all, like X amount? Is that, I think that some people kind of understand that an exact amount doesn't take you to the promised land, but it's a marker on where to go and where to go next. And you will have to change, but it's not the diet. How many calories are you eating right now that help you lose the 30 pounds? Because I'll tell you this, if it's some ridiculously low number, but you just don't know it because you're eating these foods and you're following the anabolic diet, but it's like 1,200 calories. No, you're not. It's not enough food. That's not even best to optimize your metabolism. You would have no idea though, because you're eating these foods and you're sticking to it. But two things. One is, even when you start looking the way you want, you still got your problems in life, and you're thinking what the sacrifice you're doing for this outer shell of our body, of our soul called our body, but we still have our problems. We still have our ambitions and journeys. If you're suffering to live life because you're eating too few calories and not know it, and you associate that's what it takes to be healthy, then you got it all wrong. And unless that gets reworked and reframed and re-explained, you have no shot. Here's the other thing. The more calories that you eat, it gives you some leeway when you condition and you're consistent to eat regular food without guilt. Just keep the beat goes on. All right. Hey, if you guys want to finally just understand all this, the training, the nutrition, how it all works together, look in the description. Reach out to me for one-on-one coaching. I've got a package, and you're going to have this for the rest of your life. I got a package for you. All right. So let's see here. Patrick, that's right, bud. Hair loss was not cool in the late 70s or 80s. Comb overs were just awful. They were. Miguel, do you get surprised reactions when people learn about your real age? I know you're turning 60, but you look 30 years younger. I should just take that as a compliment and say thank you or whatever. But you know, on stage, everything's an illusion. I learned through the years that you present yourself in the matter in photography and cameras and lighting make a big difference. If you look on the internet and you see pictures of me on stage, oh, there's no way that guy is drug free. He's huge. But you got to understand this is that there are literally hundreds of pictures and that I post and get out there. But if you take the 5 at the right angle, you just look amazing. You don't see the other 96 that make me look normal. Right. And, I don't know, this is very complimentary lighting that I have. It's done for a reason. All right. I want to present myself the best. Social media is visual. You want to put your best presentation forward. But sometimes, like that gym you see me working at now, that is like the worst lighting and makes me look 70, right? In my opinion. So I thank you for the comment. I guess I should stop there. But, I'm not really caught up in looking young. For my kids, that's cool, but I'd rather be healthy. Shaved head bodybuilding is great, but you are right. Tall poppy syndrome. Look at Will Smith. Yeah. JJ, I have a cool ball friend named Osvaldo. Nice. Miguel, also, does being an older father feel no different than being a father in his 20s? Right. Well, I'll tell you this. It's something that you want to get your life together to have these kids. I think it's massively different, and that's because it was my life decisions. Hopefully you're benefiting by this extreme focus that I did to become this bodybuilder because I wasn't focusing on other things in life. My own challenges, what it takes to have intimacy in a family. I was zoned in and to a fault, right? At the expense of handling my other challenges. I did it willingly. All right. And so, having these kids when you're older, that you got to hug them with a sense of urgency because you just do the math. Okay. When they're 30 years old, I am, right. My father died. My biological father died, and I don't even know, 6 or 8 years ago. Obviously, I wasn't that close. My stepfather, since I was 4 years old, is still alive, and my mother is older with dementia, right? So here I am at almost 60 years old, my parents alive, and let's just say when my kids are 60, I'm not going to be around in this form at least, right? And so I hug, I teach with a sense of urgency. And also what I do with men with coaching, whether it's life coaching or fitness coaching, do a lot of coaching. You see me even with kids and how I coach them. I'm not going to do it to a stranger on a phone, even if it's a client, all right, and not give it to my kids. So I think I probably parent scared. I parent guilty. I parent with a sense of urgency. And I think that's how it's different. How did you avoid injuries lifting heavy to failure all these years? Couple things. Number one is I don't know if I'm any smarter than anybody else, that I was safer than anybody else, or I was luckier than anybody else. I think I was smart about it, but I don't know. Could just be all genetic and structure, and I'm able to hold it. I'm not sure. And also, failure. Failure is so mental. Talk about that a lot. Did I really go to failure? Did I really? I know I may have lifted heavier than most, all right, but it was really failure. It's so mental. Maybe I was stopping safely a couple reps before. I know I always had a spotter, so I know I was confident. And even though I did the VHS tapes back in the day or the DVDs, like nowadays they want to look so good visually. So if they lift the weight, they want the spotter back. I never cared about that. I know I lifted the weight. I told my spotter, you lift it up, and I want your fingers just right there. You don't need to keep them off for the camera. I want to have absolute certainty that if I failed, you were right there. And so mentally, that helped me. You should make a video on your balding, as it to go viral. Let me just see something. Let me just look something up. Because one kind of did the story that I told you. Let me see if it. Thought it. I might have it as private or something now. I don't know, but I'll have to get that for you guys, or make another one. You like that story? All right. So again, going back to the injuries, I don't know if I'm lucky, smart. I mean, I can't really compare myself to a lot of people. A lot of injuries. I don't see. I've been in the gym for 32 years. I don't see a lot of injuries. A lot of talk of injuries, right? But I don't see them happen to know what people might have done. It's not even with the heavy weight. Usually it's just a fluke thing. You're not paying attention. That's my experience with injuries. Bill, hello. What are your thoughts on fasting 16 to 18 hours to lose the fat, covers the muscle? I think that works. Like I said, there are a lot of different ways to approach an effective diet that may fit well your schedule, your personality, or your taste. But as long as they have the same organizing principles, they all work. All right. So that'll definitely work. Do I recommend elastic band for muscle mass? Well, if that's what you have and that's overload for you, then that creates overload and that will work. But, if you're consistent with it, right, it's not going to work for overload too long. But it's good to be good and healthy. You don't necessarily have to be overload all the time. You are such a brother, Skip. Wish we could have hung out and trained together. Love your life approach. Well, thank you, Peter. Well, we still got a life left, right? That still may happen, right? I aim for 1,900, 2,000 calories. Now, that's not bad. Do something for me, Rides. Just look up how many calories should the average man eat, right? Now, that's an average. It's not talking about a guy working out in the gym, maybe with your ambitious goals, but you'll see that it's higher than 1,900 to 2,000. All right. And you think, well, I need to eat less. Well, it's a little bit more to get to the elite level. It's a little bit more than being in a certain calorie deficit. Sometimes you need to eat more food, and maybe you've experienced that before in your life. When you were younger, let's say, you're just shoving down the food, you're active, you work, you may be running around with your friends, always moving, play little sports, ate, and your body became this in front of you, just eating more and more and more, and it just burned it up, and you got hungrier, and you felt your body running hotter, and you got leaner and stronger. A lot of guys say, I can't eat the way I used to. Maybe you should eat the way you used to. Hello, Chad. Great to have you here, sir. All right, let me make sure I get everybody here. Let's see. Yeah, got some sunlight here. My son, we're on this quest of 1,000 swings between his game on Wednesday and his next game on Saturday. They had a spring break, and so we deal with whatever sunlight we have left. So I'm gonna jump off here real quick. I mean, it's been 46 minutes. It's just I get so consumed here, and so we're at 512 right now with like 4 days left. So we got to do a little bit more than 100 swings. So I got to get down there. All right, guys. All right, so that's going to do it. Again, look down in the description of this video. I've got so many ways to help you reach your goals. Talk to me for one-on-one coaching. Yay. Maybe, Peter, we can do that, right? So go in the description. We can talk about it before you make any commitment, see if it's a good fit for you. So let's take on the day with a sense of urgency. We have to when we're a little bit older. We've got more time behind us than we do in front of us. Have a great day.